How should you aim your arms in the golf swing? That's probably a question you've never asked yourself before, but once you understand that how you aim your arms quite literally controls the club path and the club face, you're going to want to know the details around this particularly important part of both the setup and the swing. This video is going to cover all of that in detail, including how to aim both the trail arm and the lead arm to set yourself up for success every single time. So when it comes to aiming your arms, we should start at setup. This is the basic version of how to start out, and just paying attention from this down the line camera view as to how you organize and arrange your arms. The mistake I see all of the time is golfers who have their trail arm too straight, too high, and organized and aimed above their lead arm. You'll notice as you look from this down the line camera view how my left arm is visible below my right. That sets my arms up, or aims my arms too much to the left. This is an enormous problem that I see in golfers of all levels actually, but primarily higher handicap golfers tend to struggle with this position, and it leads to an out to in swing path which creates distance issues, and obviously directional control becomes extremely difficult. Try setting up with your right arm softer, bent, slightly flexed, so that you're able to see your lead arm just slightly above your trail arm. Anyone who's taken any in-person instruction with me and has seen this problem in their swing will know that I'll sometimes walk in with my alignment stick and quite literally put it between their arms and crank their arms into position. This is a truly wonderful way to set up if you're looking to improve your club path and club delivery. That's the basics of the setup. Now we're going to get into the very specific details of the arm positions, both at setup and then throughout the rest of the swing. As we move into discussing the specific positions of the arms, I need to run through a very quick coding system with you so we can get this from being something that might seem a little bit complicated and detailed into something that's really simple for you to feel and understand in a few seconds. As I do this, I'm going to turn to the front camera. You'll notice the hoodie's gone, so you can see my arms in more detail. I've touched on this topic before. It's very important to understand the mechanics of the arms as they play such an enormous role in both the swing path and club face in the swing. Let's talk you through the basics of this. I'm going to use the trail arm to keep this simple to begin with, but we will get to some lead arm stuff as well. As far as the arm positions are concerned, we're really going to refer to the position of the elbow and then the position of the wrist or the forearm in the swing. Starting at the top of the arm, this arm can rotate around 90 degrees or so through the upper arm via internal and external rotation. So external rotation would be, the analogy would be losing the arm wrestle, and internal rotation would be the analogy of winning an arm wrestle. And in golf, you really want to lose the arm wrestle. You want the arm in external rotation. An arm or an elbow here in external rotation would point towards the camera, and this would be a good position. An internally rotated arm would have the elbow pit pointing more down the target line, and that would be poor, that would be a problem. So if we took the arm in its internal condition, where it's pointing down the target line, we're going to call that position number 1. Fully externally rotated, we're going to call that position number 3. And between the two, we're just going to call that position number 2. For golf, the trail arm wants to be in position number 3, both at setup and throughout the swing. We'll get to this shortly. But understand the external rotation that you're looking for is key. You can even stand up and try this now as you watch the video. Having the arm on the elbow pushing across your body in external rotation is an important thing to be able to do. Separate to that, the bottom part of the arm can rotate independently from the upper arm. You'll see how my upper arm is in position 3. My lower arm, my forearm, can twist, pronate and supinate in such a way that this hand can rotate through a tremendous amount of degrees. That's obviously going to be important that we get this right for golf, because that rotation is very much directly linked to the club face. Let's use the same coding system for the forearm or the hand. So when the palm is pointing at the target, we'll call that position 1. When it's pointing at the camera, where the forearm would be fully supinated, that would be position 3. And in between the two, we'll call that, once again, position 2. For golf, we want the trail hand and the trail forearm in position 1 against the externally rotated 3 of the upper arm. So putting the elbow into the 3 and the forearm into the 1 is the secret sauce for the trail arm. That's both at setup and, as I'll discuss shortly, throughout the entire golf swing. When it comes to the lead arm, let's use the same coding system, keep things nice and simple. The lead arm is less of a factor as far as the importance is concerned. There's definitely a stronger leaning towards the trail arm in terms of its importance in the golf swing. I've seen different arm alignments in the left arm working for many golfers, but for a start point for you, if you're looking for something to look for at setup, I would say that you would start the lead elbow and the lead wrist forearm both in position 2. So that's not fully externally rotated with the elbow and the hand. That would tend to put the hand on the grip in a poor position like so. We know we want a little bit of rotation in that grip, so we get the forearm slightly pronated into position number 2. I just think of that as like a 45-degree angle. And at the same time, as I put my hand on the club, my arm, the pit of my elbow is also turned some 45 degrees, meaning it's not fully pointing at the camera and it's also not fully pointing back to the down the line camera. I've got it in that in-between position. So you have your numbers, you need to practice this. 2-2 on the lead arm, 3-1 on the trail arm. Put those together and you've got more than a fighting chance of playing some great golf. So now we have a simple numbered coding system. We can run through this now very quickly. And when we use those 3-1, 2-2 alignments at setup, you'll start to notice how my arms are aimed, as I mentioned right at the beginning of this video. I have the right arm slightly flexed and externally rotated with the lower arm, the forearm turned against the grip. That's my position 3-1 with the trail arm, and then I've got the 2-2 in the lead arm. That gets my arms aimed exactly how I would want to. From this position, it becomes much easier to start tracing the correct swing plane and swing path. You see the lines on the ground here built with the T-claw. This is the stack and tilt grid. You'll see this in some of my other videos. And really this is a roadmap for the hands and the club to work around. Putting your arms and aiming them in the correct position at setup helps you to conform to this grid far more easily than if you don't do that. Let's take a quick look at what that would look like. Let me see what the trail arm in position 1 and the trail hand also turned into the same spot would look like. Look at that from down the line. You see how my trail arm is so straight, my elbow's turned in, and I'm not going to trace this grid. I'm going to start swinging across the ball. Equally, these arm alignments matter throughout the swing. If I can put that 3-1 in there at setup, but not just at setup, if I can keep it there in the swing, I'm able to present the 3, the external rotation of the elbow, and the 1, the club face alignment, throughout the entire swing. That keeps my shaft on plane, helps me to swing at the ball from the most neutral swing path, and deliver a face-to-path relationship that produces extremely consistent ball flight. That's really what this game is about, controlling your golf ball. And when the arm and the wrist are changing throughout the swing, you're going to find this is far too difficult for you to manage. So understanding that the 3 and the 1 in the trail arm doesn't just exist at setup, it also exists throughout the swing and past the ball into the follow through, you can really start to unlock a level of consistency in your ball striking and your ball flight that you probably didn't think was possible. And to help you see these alignments of the arms throughout the entire swing, I'm going to incorporate the help of a couple of training aids here to help you see what I can see when I'm looking at a golf swing. This is going to train your eye to understand what you're looking for. This ball here, this green ball, is the connector from Shore Golf. I featured it previously in other videos, and the thing about this training aid that I really like is this bar that runs through the center of the ball here, which you hold between your arms, can quite literally help you to aim your arms. That's exactly the topic of this video. So we're going to use that to help visualize the alignment of the arms both at setup and throughout the swing. And then I've also added this magnetic rod to the club face, which shows how the club face orientation can change via the forearm piece, the bottom part of the arm, can twist the club face independently of this green ball changing position at all. So knowing that the arms work in this way is critical, because you could be trying to fix the wrong piece. You need to make sure you're paying attention to the correct part of the arm in terms of fixing your issue. I'll say this, the elbow is the path of the swing, and the forearm and the wrist is the club face. I'll say that one more time. The elbows and the way you align the elbows is the swing path. If I keep this up swing in position 3 and I exaggerate that position, that's going to help me to keep swinging out at the ball for longer. That's my in to out swing path. Conversely, if I had the trail arm in position 1, that swing path would change and would now be the out to in path associated with high handicap golfers and slicers. So the elbow is the path and the wrist or the forearm is the face. You see how as I twist my forearm there, my elbow's not moving at all. As I twist my forearm, I'm rotating this club face through maybe 90 degrees of rotation. That's an enormous amount of club face twist. So I need to know how the hand works, and I also need to know how the elbow works at the same time. So we're going to get into that now. You're going to see how when I set up, I'm going to go into the 3 and the 1 position those things correctly. I can look down at this bar that's positioned through the connector ball here, and I can see whether I'm aiming my arms correctly or not. Now, a lot of you will aim your arms better. You'll start to move the elbow into position and you'll say, okay, now my arms are looking correct. But notice what can happen when you do that. Notice what happens to the club face. As I close off my shoulders and put my trail arm into position 3, notice where the club face points. This is the mistake every single golfer I come across is making who's trying to keep the trail arm tucked in, trying to keep that elbow nice and close and tucked in like they're told to, and they do so with no consideration for this club face piece. So what that looks like, as I was demonstrating, is with the arms aimed correctly, the wrist and the club face are pointing too far to the right. That's going to hit a destructive shot offline, and you won't allow yourself to do it. What you must understand is how position 3 of the trail arm, the elbow tucked, is associated with and needs to live together with position 1 of the forearm. Look where that club face goes to. Position 3 of the elbow, and let's say position 3 of the hand at the same time, which is a mistake most of you are making. Now I'm going to go position 3 of the elbow and then turn the wrist to position 1. Look what happens to the club face. Position 3 of the hand, position 1. I've still got the trail elbow in position 3, that external rotation. That's the setup, and then you transport that alignment throughout the swing. You want to be able to still see the external rotation here with the bar across my arms in a very neutral, horizontal position. If I was starting to move the trail elbow internal rotation, you'd see how the bar would start to tip like so, and the shaft at the same time would get steep. If you suffer with a steep swing, you've likely got these elbow alignments out of position. So position 3 stays throughout the backswing while keeping the face twisted and against the 3. That's the 3 and the 1 the whole way around the swing. Elbow position, wrist position, elbow position, wrist position. I can transport that alignment around my body, back to impact, and even into the follow through, even past the ball. The trail elbow stays in position 3. We don't want it to start to roll into position 1. That's where we get lots of twisting of the shaft, twisting of the club face. Keep the elbow in 3 and the club face in 1 as you orbit the front side of the swing as well. That helps you to navigate the after impact part of the swing, which most of you don't think about, but that's really how you want to be trying to do it. So that's how it looks with the training aids. Let's finish up by hitting one. So with these arm alignments, the 3 and the 1, the 2 and the 2, I know that if I orbit my body and transport these alignments around me, I'm going to have a shot that's very predictable from a ball flight perspective. This should be a small draw, slight right to left ball flight, because I've got the path built in slightly to the right, and I've got the club face ever so slightly closed to the path. The expectation is a draw. That's the shot I'm trying to hit. 3 and 1, 2 and 2, transport those alignments around me, go ahead and hold my finish. Slightly thin. I'll say these clubs aren't mine. They're a little bit too short for me. That is the ball flight, the directional control that I would be expecting if I control the face and the path. Remember, The face is the wrist, the path is the elbow. That's really the secret sauce for you to understand how to aim your arms, not just at setup, but how to transport that around you, both in the backswing, the downswing, and the follow through, for quite literally the most consistent ball striking and the most consistent ball flight control that you've ever experienced. I know you've got one more question for me before we finish. Rob, does this work for the driver? And you'll know if you've watched enough of my videos that the answer is yes, it works for the driver. And I would say it's almost more important that you aim the arms correctly with the driver, because there's one key difference with the driver than the other clubs. That is that the ball position moves further forwards. We get it closer to this lead shoulder because we want to hit less down on a driver. We want to hit pretty level to the ground, to be honest with you. And as the ball gets closer to the lead shoulder, it's much more likely that a golfer would inadvertently allow their upper arms to get into this alignment where they're across the ball, because I'm reaching for a ball position that's further forwards. So it's even more important that to reach that forward ball position, I put the 2 and the 2, and then I get this trail arm and I go 3, just really tuck it in, external rotation, pushing the elbow towards the middle of my body, and then the 1 against the 3. That's the way I want you to think about it. The 1 is turned against the 3, the externally rotated trail arm. You'll now see from down the line how my arm alignment looks completely different to how it would have done before. And again, if you struggle with driver, particularly swinging across and slicing the ball, this would be the first place to look. Same expectation with the driver, 3 and 1, hold the alignments. The expectation would be that this ball should have a nice little draw to it. And that one came a little low off the face again, but you see the curve. I can predict the curve on the ball every single time. The chances of that ball slicing are quite literally 0. If you want to learn better ball control, you need to learn how to aim your arms. This video is an extremely important introduction to a subject that's hugely misunderstood and not really spoken about. Get your arms aimed correctly, and you'll find that your ball flight becomes more predictable than ever before. Thank you for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did make it this far, I would absolutely love you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's a very quick and free way to help support me growing this YouTube channel. In terms of more access to more videos, if you're interested in taking a look at the YouTube membership, you'll get early access to all of the videos that I make. You'll get exclusive member-only videos, as well as access to some live streams and also some online golf lessons should you be interested. I'll put some information about the YouTube membership down in the description. You can certainly take a look at that if it's something of interest to you. And if you'd like to learn more about the training aid I used in today's video to help you aim your arms correctly both at setup and throughout the swing, you can take a look at the website. I'll put a link down in the description. This connector ball from Shore Golf is used by some of the world's best players, including 6-time major winner Rory McIlroy. I've made a video about that topic once before, which you can go ahead and check out here. And if you'd like to learn more about the 3 and the 1 and how Tom Seguto, my friend and fellow YouTuber, uses that alignment in his own swing, then you can go ahead and watch this one next instead.